Hey kids, Flexing Teacher Weber here. Today, Tuesday, we're going to start to wrap up all of our work on equations. We're going to take everything we've done and combine it all to solve some complex equations. Now, in doing this, we're also going to be reviewing everything we've already done, so it's a great way to wrap up the unit, and then later in the week we'll have a little test on equations. To solve complex equations, there's three things you have to do. You have to simplify all the parentheses first. So that might mean using the distributive property. You have to simplify all like terms. And then that should usually leave you with some recognizable equations, and then you can go ahead and use your skills to solve the equations. So we're going to do some examples of this, and we're going to start off easier and gradually get a little more difficult. I'm going to do two videos. Let's start with an example. Doink. So this says simplify and solve the following, and I'm going to write it in just a little different way. I'm going to say x divide by 4 minus 1 equals 15, because 20 minus 5 equals 15. So what we had to do there was simplify some like terms first, and then we're left with a somewhat recognizable equation. To solve this now, we use reverse of order of operations. You find the variable x divided by 4 minus 1. Do the opposite of minus 1, which is plus 1. And do the same thing on the other side of the equal sign. Keep working down the page. X divided by 4 equals 16. And we should always take note that this also means 1x over 4 equals 16, or you can think of that as 1/4 x equals 16. You have a division equation now. So the opposite of divide by 4 is to multiply by 4. And remember, we use parentheses for that. And that leaves us with 4 divided by 4 leaves us with 1x equals 16 times 4 is 64. Or x equals 64. Okay. So it's all the things we already know, just combining them. Let's gradually get a bit trickier. Doink. So number 2 says 2x plus 2x minus 8 equals 12 plus 12. Well, we need to combine our like terms first. There we have a 2x and a 2x. And a 12 and a 12. So let's combine those. 2x and 2x is 4x minus 8 equals 24. And look at that. This should look like a recognizable equation now. Solve it by doing the reverse of order of operations. The opposite of minus 8, plus 8. And do it to both sides. 4x minus 8 plus 8 disappear equals 32. That's a multiplication equation. To solve it, do the opposite of multiply by 4, which is 4. And 4 divided by 4 gives 1x. 32 divided by 4 equals 8, or x equals 8. So nothing new there, it's just combining everything. Like terms, subtraction equation, multiplication equation, all those sorts of things. Let's kick it up a notch. Doink. 4y minus 6y minus 2 equals 8 plus 2. Well, let's simplify those like terms. Be careful here. It's positive 4y, negative 6y. That's going to make negative 2y. We still have a minus 2. And on the other side of the equal sign, we have a 10. Now watch this. We have a regular two-step equation now, right? So there's the variable y. Do the opposite of order of operations first. So beside that y is a minus 2. We're going to do plus 2 on both sides. That leaves us with negative 2y. These go away, equals 12. Divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2, and you get 1y equals 12 divided by 2 is negative 6. That's the same as y equals negative 6. So look at that. There's nothing new in any of these questions. We're just combining everything. We haven't gotten any parentheses yet, but we will soon. Let's go a step further. Here they are. So what we have to do first here is combine parentheses and combine like terms. So we're going to do the parentheses first. I'm going to do the shortcut of order of, actually I'll do the long way first. So if I wanted to simplify these parentheses, I could do 2 times x and 2 times positive 1, but just to reminisce about the longer version of this, I could do 2 groups of x plus 1. And that's going to leave me with 2x plus 2. And I can't forget about, on the other side of the equal sign, I'll combine these like terms. That equals negative 4. And then once again, look, I've got one of those two-step equations there. 2x plus 2 equals negative 4. To solve it, I do the opposite of plus 2, which is minus 2, minus 2. These go away. I'm left with 2x equals negative 6. It's a multiplication equation now. So do the opposite of multiply by 2, which is divide by 2. And that leaves you with 1x equals negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3, or x equals negative 3. Combining everything. Love this stuff. It's all coming together. Let's do a couple more in this one. Gonna flip ahead. Okay, now things change up a bit. What you're gonna notice on this one is we have a variable m on this side of the equal sign and a variable m on this side of the equal sign. Now this is where we really have to understand the idea of equality in algebra. Remember, I can do anything I want to one side of an equal sign just as long as I do the same thing to the other side. So I really don't want a variable on both sides of the equal sign. So the way to fix that is to subtract one off. Now I'm going to subtract the smaller one off so that I'm left with a positive number, just because I like positive numbers better. So watch this. I don't want that 2m to be there, so I'm going to subtract 2m off from that side of the equal sign. And I'm allowed to do that just as long as I subtract 2m from the other side. Now watch what happens when I simplify this. 4m minus 2m is 2m. I still have minus 6. And now on the other side of the equal sign, 2m minus 2m disappears. And I have equals a positive 4, which I'm just going to write as 4. And then all of a sudden, I've got one of those two-step equations again. To solve it, I'm going to add 6 to both sides. And I'm going to be left with 2m equals 10. And now I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And I'm going to be left with m equals 5. In this one, we really had to use our knowledge of like terms to solve it. Let's do one more, and then I'll do a few more on a new video. Okay, last one. Look at this. Oh, we're just loaded up with t's in this one. we've got 4t minus, I'm going to write 1t equals 6 plus t. Okay. Well, let's simplify our like terms. Well, 4t minus 1t equals 3t equals 6 plus, well, I'm going to call this one 1t as well. Now look at this. I don't want to have a t on both sides of the equal sign. So since there's a t on each side of the equal sign, I'm going to subtract one of them off. I normally choose the smaller one to subtract off because that will leave me with a positive answer. So I'm going to subtract off minus 1t to this side of the equal sign, and I'm allowed to do that just as long as I do it to the other side of the equal sign. Now watch what happens. 3t minus 1t is 2t. Ha! I said 2t. That's what happens to me when I eat a lot of beans. I get 2t. So 3t minus 1t is 2t. On the other side, 1t minus 1t goes away, and I'm left with just a 6. And look at that. All of a sudden, something that was really complicated turns into a one-step equation now. This is 2 multiplied by some unknown number t, and I'm going to divide by 2, divide by 2, and I'm going to get t equals 3. We'll do some more of these equations on the next video, but I hope some things are starting to connect. Flexing Teacher Weber, out.